All right, guys, we're back for another episode of What Happened Crypto. So tell me, Steve, what's happening in the world of crypto?
Um, there's a few different things we can talk about today. Um, the first one is let's talk about the Bitcoin predictions. Timothy Peterson, he's a well-known Bitcoin advocate, supporter, also a fund manager. His prediction for Bitcoin is quite stunning, if you want to call it that way. Um, he uses Metcalfe law, which is involved in mathematics, mostly using um, logarithmic algorithm in terms of time and price. And here is his prediction. He is predicting that by December this year, Bitcoin price will be around 150 to 200,000 per Bitcoin.
Oh wow, 150 to 100, 200,000. Wow. But that number has been thrown around multiple times. Do you think it's very plausible now?
It sounds very, I don't know, it sounds very unachievable to me. But then again, this guy, he has been studying Bitcoin for a long time, and he was actually the one that actually modified the original Metcalfe law. Someone else actually came up with the Metcalfe law prediction for Bitcoin. And he said, wait a minute, there is some improvement I can make to it. So the guy actually went in mathematically, changed the formula for Metcalfe law for Bitcoin to come up with his own, and he's posted on his website. If you guys want to go check it out, um, I think I will go. I think I will do another episode for him about this Metcalfe law prediction for Bitcoin in terms of time and price. But he is legit, especially if you look at his Metcalfe law chart for Bitcoin. His bottom price was quite accurate for the last probably, all of the cycle bottoms pretty much hit the bottom of his Metcalfe law bottom.
All right. Well, yeah. So I guess another person that's bullish on Bitcoin, another I guess important person in the finance world. Uh, Tell me, what's Samson Mao saying?
Yeah, so Samson also had his own prediction in terms of Bitcoin. In this interview, he goes into actually talk about Bitcoin will eventually go to 1 million. It's inevitable, according to him, and he thinks it will go a lot faster than people think. And he's basically talking about there's a God candle. I don't want to spoil the whole interview or podcast, but if people are interested, you guys can go check it out. But a part of his prediction for here, casually, he's just mentioning that, yeah, I think Bitcoin will reach 100,000 before the halving, and halving is actually coming up really soon in less than 8 weeks, about 52 days, according to this website prediction. So we are very close. Within 8 weeks, he is saying that Bitcoin is going to hit 100,000. So these guys are very, very optimistic in terms of the Bitcoin price prediction.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. I guess he's definitely part of that the Bitcoin laser eyes maxi crowd that's been preaching 100,000 for weeks now, huh?
How would you, well, if I were going to ask you, what
Yeah.
would be your prediction for Bitcoin halving in 8 weeks? What would be the price?
Yeah, that's a good question. 100,000 seems very plausible, I guess, because I mean, what it only like you're basically just increasing the market cap by what by two, and there are companies that are much larger, like at $3 trillion, right? Like what was it, Apple and uh, who else do we have now?
NVIDIA?
Nvidia, which is like yeah, already at 1.8 or 2 trillion, right? So if a whole asset class is not, I mean, I think a whole asset class like Bitcoin getting to $2 trillion is not. It doesn't seem like it's not. I mean, like it seems like it's very plausible. Uh,
But what would be your prediction, not his prediction?
yeah, yeah. So during we're talking about during the halving, like right after the halving,
No,
right?
on halving,
On the
right? The
halving,
day on the halving.
on
What would be
halving.
the price you would think before I even showed you these prediction from these people?
I
What
actually
were
think
you thinking?
I actually think it's not going to be 100,000. It's going to be less.
Yeah, for me, I'm very conservative. I was thinking
Yeah.
even more, maybe 60. and it will be good if it's all-time high at 70.
Yeah.
But I even that I questioned even if it
Yeah.
will get to 70.
Honestly, I'm basing it off of like the historical price. Like I think at every halving, Bitcoin has either moved sideways the day of the halving, or it has like kind of not collapsed, but it has went down from a previous high, local high. Sorry.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. I think usually it's not that exciting that day.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I will say that that supply not coming online will, we will probably see the effects of that later.
Yeah, but speaking of supply and demand, did you know that MicroStrategy just bought more Bitcoin?
Yeah. Well, it's for them. It's like another Tuesday, huh?
Yeah, business as usual. We just bought more Bitcoin casually, 3,000 more Bitcoin.
Yeah. Wow. And is this is he doing this by creating more debt? Like, is he like issuing more bonds or something to buy this, or is this just using cash flow?
I don't know. He didn't announce anything about that. So this is probably from his existing war chest. It's not a new issuing of bonds or shares or anything like that, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we got the as long as Michael Saylor continues to buy, I guess it's bullish for Bitcoin, huh? There's an artificial.
He's always bullish for Bitcoin. He's forever bullish for Bitcoin.
So it's safe to say that there's an artificial floor.
He's definitely laying the floor for sure.
Yeah.
He's laying the groundwork, the foundation for Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. Let's move on to Bitcoin's ETF flows. What's happening there?
Yeah, so last Friday, February 23rd, it's one of the smallest GBTC outflow in the last 2 months at 44 million outflow for GBTC. So that's actually a good sign. Um, that means that there's not a lot of liquidation coming out of Genesis and Gemini because they just started liquidating their GBTC. So it seems like they either done liquidating or not a lot of people are liquidating and they just keep holding on to the Bitcoin instead of selling.
Got it. So it's now, I guess it's looking like once all of this like GBTC selling is done, it looks like that must be the last few people that are probably going to sell, right? Seems like I think we talked about there's a lot of people who are kind of trapped inside GBTC for like, the tax implications that comes with like selling that product.
Yeah. So hopefully the trend continues and stays low.
Yeah. All right. Cool, man. Yeah. So I guess this one's it's looking bullish again here too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Looking good.
All right. Let's talk about Tom Lee.
Yeah, just a shout out to Tom Lee because I do follow him and he's got a lot of good points in terms of his predictions, his outlook, and how the way he looks at the market. So just a shout out to him. I found this interesting. Back in 2019, I remember watching some of his presentation, and he was recommending people to allocate 1 or 2% to their portfolio, to people's portfolio, to hold Bitcoin. That's back in 2019 when Bitcoin was trading at 5,000.
Yeah. I actually remember you sent me like videos that he did on CNBC back then, and he was predicting some crazy amounts back then as well, right?
Yeah, he was also made a talk even before Bitcoin about the FANGs.
Yeah.
How people, if you're holding on to FANGs for the last decade, for the 10 years time frame, that FANG was going up. He outperformed everything else. It's not even close.
Yeah.
And so the guy is legit. He's got a lot of good prediction. Uh, that was accurate.
Yeah.
So, for example, last year, I think out of all the analysts, he has the closest prediction in terms of S&P price level at the end of the year 2023. He was the one that almost nailed it within like $100, 100 point for the S&P 500.
Yeah, yeah, got it, got it. Yeah, if he's making these correct predictions, I guess for sure he has some value in what he's saying. So yeah, we'll keep monitoring to see where where his price predictions end up landing.
Yeah, I tell you, he's also very bullish on Bitcoin, and his Bitcoin price prediction, I forgot what it was now, but I think his prediction for this year is definitely more than 70, which is all-time high.
Oh wow. Okay. All right, man. All right. Yeah, we'll keep monitoring Bitcoin, and yeah, we'll join everyone on the next episode.
All right, talk to you next time.
All right.
Right now, if you actually think it's undervalued by that extent?
Well, we think the best approach for most people is just to put 1% or 2%.
Are you saying that? I get that if you're somebody who's got a lot of assets. I still think it's crazy. But for a retail investor, somebody who's saving for retirement and putting that aside, that seems crazy to me.
Well, it's basically the idea that you can afford to lose 1% if that's 1% of your portfolio.
That's crazy. You might as well throw it away on high fees to an investor, to an average. Like this, you're taking a flyer on that. You don't know where it's going to go or what's going to happen.
Well, in a way, that's right, Becky. That for the majority of people, it's 1% is like a small risk bet. But Bitcoin makes all of its gains in 10 days in a year. I think this is an example that if you exclude 25% a year, so you gotta essentially hold it or hodl it, as they say, to really capture the gains.